The family barbecue was alive with laughter, my wife Emily's hand in mine, until my brother Brian raised a glass and said, "To Emily, for saving me." Her blush, the crowd's cheers, hid a truth that gutted me. She'd been saving him in ways I never knew. That moment, under the summer sun, was when I realized my marriage was a lie, and my family was complicit. The July heat draped our backyard in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, the air thick with charcoal smoke and the twang of a country playlist. I, Kevin Walsh, stood by the grill, flipping burgers, my denim shirt damp, my blue eyes scanning the crowd of family and friends. At 35, I was a warehouse supervisor, my life built on steady work and my 7-year marriage to Emily, whose auburn hair caught the sun as she laughed with my brother, Brian. The family barbecue was a Walsh tradition, a tapestry of love and loyalty, but Brian's toast, "To Emily, for saving me," had cracked that tapestry, a subtle sting that hinted at a betrayal I couldn't yet name. Ours, me, Emily, Brian, our parents, were a knot of history, their strength now a question I'd unravel with every passing day. Emily was my anchor, 33, a graphic designer with a quick wit and a smile that had hooked me at a college art show. We'd built a life in our modest ranch house, its walls lined with her sketches and my vinyl records, our evenings filled with talks of kids we'd yet to have. She was my partner, her hazel eyes a comfort through lean years and warehouse promotions. But today, her blush at Brian's toast, her hand lingering on his arm, stirred an unease I couldn't shake. Saving him? From what? My internal monologue churned, a flicker of doubt in the love I'd trusted. Brian, 32, was my younger brother, a carpenter with a boyish grin and a restless spirit, his dark hair a contrast to my sandy blonde. He'd always been the charmer, his life a series of near misses, failed businesses, bar fights, our family catching him each time. I'd bailed him out, Mom and Dad too, our loyalty a Walsh trait, but his closeness with Emily, once innocent, now felt like a shadow. They'd bonded over art, her helping him with flyers, him fixing our porch, their laughter a constant at family gatherings. I'd seen it as friendship, but Brian's toast, her reaction, was a warning sign, a crack in the ties that held us. Our family was tight, a clan of Murfreesboro locals. Mom, Linda, 60, was a retired librarian, her warmth a glue, her pride in Brian's potential a blind spot. Dad, Tom, 62, a mechanic, was gruff but devoted, his stories of Brian's teenage antics a ritual. My cousins, aunts, uncles filled our barbecues, their chatter a hum, but today, their cheers for Brian's toast, their glances at Emily, left me on the outside, a stranger in my own circle. Do they know something? I wondered, my pride a bruise, my role as the steady son, the reliable husband, suddenly in question. The barbecue buzzed, kids chasing fireflies, but I stayed by the grill, the sizzle a rhythm to my thoughts. I flashed back to our wedding, Emily's vows, "You're my home, Kevin," her hand in mine, Brian's best man's speech a blur of jokes. Hope had been our foundation, our early years a dance of shared dreams, renovating the house, planning a nursery. But cracks had appeared, Emily's late nights working, her sketches of Brian's projects, his truck parked at our curb more often. I trusted her, chalked it up to family, but now, Brian's toast was a lens, sharpening those moments into something else. Was I blind? The thought was a splinter, my love for her a tether I wasn't ready to cut. Emily joined me, her sundress swaying, her voice soft. "Good burgers, Kev," she said, her hand brushing mine, a spark of hope. I forced a smile, my voice low, probing. What did Brian mean, saving him? Sounds like more than flyers. Her eyes flickered, her smile tight. Just helping with his business stuff, you know. He's been down. Her vagueness was a sting, her dodge a warning, and I pressed, my tone steady. Didn't feel like that. Felt personal. She sighed, her hand dropping, her voice sharp. Don't start, Kevin. It's just family. Her dismissal was a jab, her loyalty a question, And I nodded, my heart sinking, the audience sensing my hurt in the clench of my spatula. Brian approached, his beer raised, his grin easy. "Hell of a party, bro," he said, his arm around Emily, too casual, too close. "Thanks," I muttered, my eyes on the flames, my internal monologue seething. "What's your game, Brian?" I wanted to ask, to demand truth, but Mom's laugh nearby, Dad's clap on Brian's back, kept me silent, my pride a fragile shield. Mom caught my eye, her brow furrowed. "You okay, Kevin?" she asked, her voice warm but distant, her focus on Brian's charm. "Fine," I said, my tone flat, her concern a flicker of hope, but her quick turn to Brian a disappointment, my place in the family shifting. The barbecue ended, guests leaving, the backyard a mess of plates I'd clean alone. Emily and Brian lingered by the cooler, their heads close, her laugh a sound I'd once owned. Something's off, I thought, my suspicion a slow burn, my resolve stirring. I'd watch, listen, uncover what lay behind her blush, his toast. The audience could feel the tension, my pain in the creak of the porch step, the fire in my eyes as I stacked chairs, the grill's embers a mirror to my doubt. The family ties, Emily's love, Brian's brotherhood, our parents' loyalty, were a knot I'd trusted, but Brian's words had loosened it, a betrayal I'd chase, my dignity a stone I'd hold, the sting of that moment a spark that would guide me to truth. The Murfreesboro September was a slow fade into autumn, the maples along our street tinged with amber, their leaves crunching under my boots as I mowed the lawn, the hum of the engine a shield against my thoughts. I, Kevin Walsh, stood in our modest backyard, my denim shirt damp, my blue eyes clouded with suspicion. At 35, I was a warehouse supervisor, my life tethered to my wife, Emily, whose toast to my brother, Brian, at our family barbecue, to Emily, for saving me, had sparked an unease that grew with each passing day. Subtle changes in Emily's behavior, the awkwardness between her and Brian, and my own confusion were a tightening coil, my internal monologue a storm of rationalization and doubt, the truth a shadow I wasn't ready to face. Emily was different, the audience sensing it in the way I watched her across the kitchen, her auburn hair tied back, her fingers tapping her phone, its screen angled away. She'd always been open, her sketches shared, her laughter a constant, but now her evenings were marked by client calls that stretched late, her phone buzzing with texts she'd silence quickly. Last week, I'd caught a glimpse, on her screen, a message cut off. "Meet me at," before she locked it, her smile tight. "Work stuff," she'd said, her hazel eyes avoiding mine, a shift from the woman who'd once left her phone unlocked, trusting. "It's nothing," my internal monologue insisted, rationalizing her stress, her graphic design deadlines, the pressure of new clients, but the sting of Brian's toast, her blush, made me question, my trust a fraying thread. The awkwardness between Emily and Brian was subtle but sharp, the audience feeling my confusion in the moments I observed them. At Mom's Sunday dinner, Brian dropped a plate, Emily rushing to help, their hands brushing, her laugh too quick, his grin too long. They'd always been close, her helping with his carpentry flyers, him fixing our fence, but now, their glances held a weight, a pause before speaking, like actors forgetting lines. Brian's eyes darted to me, his, "Hey," too loud, Emily's turned to the stove too fast. They're hiding something, I thought, my heart racing, but I clung to denial. They were family, Brian my brother, Emily my wife. Maybe it's just me seeing things. Yet, the barbecue's echo, her hand on his arm, the crowd's cheers, nod, a clue I couldn't dismiss. The emotional tension was a live wire, the audience sensing it in our strained evenings, the way I sat on the couch, Emily upstairs, her working a barrier. I tried talking, the living room dim, her sketches untouched on the table. You've been off," I said, my voice low, my warehouse supervisor's calm masking my hurt. "Distant, always on your phone. And you and Brian, what's with the vibe?" Her eyes widened, her hands twisting, her tone sharp. "Kevin, you're imagining things." I'm busy, that's all. Brian's just… Brian. Her deflection was a jab, her refusal to engage a wound, and I pressed, my voice raw. His toast… Saving him? You barely looked at me. What's going on? She stood, her voice trembling. You're making this bigger than it is. Drop it, please. Her retreat to the bedroom was a wall, my hope for truth fading, my suspicion of fire. Flashbacks deepened my conflict, the audience feeling my reflection in the slow clink of my beer bottle, the lawnmower's drone as I worked. Our early years were a beacon, Emily's laugh at the art show, our first home, her sketches of our future nursery. Hope had fueled us, her ambition climbing, my warehouse shifts steady. But cracks had appeared, her frustration when I worked late, her nights at networking events, Brian's visits, just dropping off tools, more frequent after her big client win last year. A low point, our anniversary, her distracted kiss, Brian's text lighting her phone, her quick, it's nothing. I trusted her, seen Brian as family, but now, those moments were clues, my rationalization. She's stressed, he's needy, crumbling, my pride a bruise. I confided in my coworker, Jake, over lunch at the warehouse, the air thick with cardboard and dust. Emily's acting weird, Jake. I said, my voice low, my sandwich untouched. And Brian, something's up with them. His toast at the barbecue, her texts. I don't know what to think. Jake, a forklift driver, leaned back, his eyes sharp. That's rough, Kev. Family's tricky, but if your gut's screaming, listen. Check her phone, tell her if you gotta. Truth's worth it. His advice was a spark, his pity, hate to see you blindsided, a sting, my suspicion hardening. I'll figure it out, I said, my tone firm, my resolve stirring. I'd watch closer, maybe check her phone, uncover what lay behind her distance, Brian's ease. The suspense built slowly, the audience feeling my unraveling in small moments, pausing by her desk, guilt pricking, finding a locked notebook, noticing Brian's truck at the coffee shop she'd just left, his silhouette with hers through the window. I journaled nightly, my words raw. She's slipping away, and he's part of it. I'm not crazy. Hope clung, Emily's touch this morning, her soft, love you, Kev, a flicker of our bond, but disappointment was stronger, her secrecy a shadow, Brian's presence a taunt. Mom called, her voice warm but oblivious. Brian's doing great, thanks to Emily's help, she said, her pride in him a jab, my place in the family fading. I stood in the backyard, the barbecue's grill cold, the maples swaying. I'll find the truth, my internal monologue vowed, my journal a map, my dignity a compass. The audience could sense the tension, my pain in the creak of the porch swing, my resolve in the steady scratch of my pen. Emily's changes, Brian's awkwardness, were threads in a knot I'd untangle, my suspicion a path to answers, my pride a fire I'd stoke. I, Kevin, was wavering but not broken, my heart a forge, the sting of Brian's toast a spark that would lead me to confront the shift, no matter what it revealed. The Murfreesboro October was a chill whisper, the maples bare, their branches clawing the gray sky as I sat in my truck, parked outside our Tennessee home, my hands trembling on my phone. I, Kevin Walsh, was 35, a warehouse supervisor whose world had been unraveling since my brother Brian's toast to my wife, Emily, at our family barbecue, to Emily, for saving me, 3 months ago. Her subtle changes, their awkward glances, had fueled my suspicion and now, undeniable proof of their affair, a string of texts and a photo, had shattered my denial, leaving me in a storm of betrayal, disbelief, and isolation. The confrontation with Emily and Brian, and the gut-wrenching support of my parents for them, would carve a wound deeper than I'd ever known, my heart a forge of raw pain and fading hope. The proof came by accident, a moment that broke me. I'd borrowed Emily's laptop for a warehouse report, her password unchanged, her email open. A notification pinged, a message from Brian, no subject. My pulse quickened, guilt pricking, but I clicked, my internal monologue a plea. Please, let it be nothing. The thread was a dagger, texts forwarded from their phones, Emily's words, miss you, can't wait for tomorrow, Brian's reply, same, love you at the cabin. A photo attached, time-stamped last week, Emily and Brian at a lake, her head on his shoulder, his arm around her, their smiles a secret I wasn't meant to see. Love you. The words burned, my breath catching, my vision blurring as I stared, the laptop's glow a harsh light on my marriage's lie. My emotional reaction was a tidal wave, the audience feeling my devastation in the way I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles white, my blue eyes wet. She's been with him, my brother, I thought, betrayal a blade in my gut, disbelief a weight crushing my chest. I'd trusted Emily, loved her fiercely, her sketches, our dreams of kids, our vows under the Murfreesboro stars. Brian, my blood, my shadow, had been my confidant, my best man. Now their affair was a theft, not just of love, but of family, my place in it erased. Flashbacks stung. Our wedding, Emily's hand in mine, Brian's grin. Last month, her late client calls, his truck at the coffee shop. I was blind, my internal monologue roared, shame mixing with rage, my hope, maybe it's a mistake, crumbling under the photo's truth. The confrontation came that night, the house silent, the kitchen's fluorescent light stark. Emily was home, her auburn hair loose, her phone down, her hazel eyes wary as I stood, the laptop open, the email on screen. Explain this, I said, my voice low, trembling, my warehouse supervisor's calm shattered. You and Brian. Texts, a photo, love you. Tell me I'm wrong. Her face crumpled, her hands clutching her sweater, her voice a gasp. Kevin, I didn't mean for this. Her admission was a hammer, my heart splintering, and I stepped closer, my tone raw. Didn't mean to sleep with my brother? To lie to me? How long? Her tears fell, her voice breaking. Since last year. After a fight he was there, it just happened. I'm sorry, Kev. Brian arrived, summoned by her text, his carpenter's frame filling the doorway, his dark hair disheveled, his grin gone. Kev, let's talk, he said, his voice shaky, but I cut him off, my rage afire. You betrayed me, Brian. My wife, my brother. How could you? He flinched, his eyes on Emily, his voice low. It wasn't planned. We fell in love. I'm sorry, man. The word was a betrayal deeper than lust, their shared secret a world I'd never touched. I turned to Emily, my voice cracking. You chose him over us. Over me. Her sobs were a sound I'd carry, her, I didn't mean to hurt you, a hollow echo, my disbelief a scream. This is my family, my life, and they've taken it. The shock came at Mom and Dad's, the audience sensing my isolation in the drive there, the radio off, the silence a weight. I'd called them, my voice hoarse, needing their arms, their outrage. Their living room was warm, Mom's librarian bookshelves a contrast to her cold words. Kevin, they didn't mean to hurt you, she said, her eyes on her coffee, Dad nodding. Brian's been lost. Emily's good for him. I froze, my breath gone, my internal monologue a wail. They're choosing them? They're having an affair, I said, my voice rising raw. He's my brother, she's my wife. How can you side with them? Dad's voice was gruff, his eyes avoiding mine. You're strong. You'll move on. They need each other. Their support for Brian and Emily was a final betrayal, my family a circle I no longer fit, my isolation a chasm. Moments of silence deepened the impact, the audience feeling my pain in the pause as I stood, my hands shaking, the room's clock ticking. I flashed back to childhood, Brian's scraped knees, my hand pulling him up, Mom's pride in us both. Now, her defense of him, Dad's shrug, was a theft of that bond, my role as the steady sun erased. I'm alone, I thought, my heart a ruin, my pride a flicker in the ashes. I left there, we love you, a faint echo, the doors slam a vow, I'd face this, but not with them. The emotional fallout was a tide, the audience sensing my disbelief in the quiet of my truck, the way I gripped the photo printout, their smiles a ghost. Emily's affair, Brian's betrayal, my parents' support were a triple wound, my trust in family shattered. I gave them everything, love, loyalty, and they chose each other. My internal monologue cried, rage and grief warring. Hope was gone, but a spark of resolve stirred. I'd rebuild, make them see my worth, not with screams, but with strength. I drove to a motel, the Murfreesboro lights blurring, my journal open. I'm not nothing. I'll rise. Kevin, was broken, my isolation a forge, the sting of their betrayal a spark that would fuel my next step, a path to reclaim my life, whatever it took. The Murfreesboro November was a crisp veil, the bare maples outside my motel window swaying in the dawn, their shadows a mirror to the quiet strength I was forging. I, Kevin Walsh, stood in a rented room, my denim jacket hung, my blue eyes clearer despite the ache in my chest. At 35, I was a warehouse supervisor, my life shattered by the proof of my wife Emily's affair with my brother Brian, texts, a photo, their love confessed, compounded by my parents' support for them. The betrayal had left me isolated, but now, I was processing the pain, setting boundaries, and plotting a calm, thought-out response, my emotional growth a slow burn, my plan to expose their truth a simmering tension, my dignity a stone I'd sharpen in a new life. The emotional fallout lingered, the audience feeling my grief in the motel's silence, the way I traced the photo of Emily and Brian, now creased in my wallet, a reminder of what I'd lost. They took my family, my trust, my internal monologue mourned, but denial was gone, replaced by a raw clarity. Emily's choice, Brian's betrayal, my parents siding with them were not my failure, but theirs. I'd spent weeks in a fog, my heart a ruin, but a flicker of resolve had sparked. I'm not nothing, and I began rebuilding, my pain a forge, my pride a flame. I set boundaries, cutting communication, no calls to Emily, her texts, Kev, please talk, unanswered, no contact with Brian, his voicemails deleted, a curt text to mom and dad, need space, don't reach out. The silence was a shield, my isolation a choice to protect my worth. My growth was deliberate, the audience sensing it in my new routine, a rhythm to anchor me. I moved to a small apartment, its blank walls a canvas, my vinyl records stacked, my coffee maker a morning ritual. I ran daily, the Murfreesboro trails a release, my breath steady, my body stronger. Journaling became my refuge, pages filled with raw truth. They broke me, but I'm not theirs to define. I'll stand tall. I sought therapy, a weekly session with Dr. Ellis, a soft-spoken woman whose questions, "What do you owe yourself, Kevin?" cut through my shame. "I owe me respect," I told her, my voice firm, her nod a spark, my self-reflection a mirror. I'd been the steady son, the loyal husband, but now, I'd be my own foundation. Support came from unexpected places, the audience feeling its warmth in the moments I leaned on others. My coworker, Jake, became a rock, his forklift driver's bluntness a bomb. Over beers at a dive bar, I shared the affair, my parents' betrayal, my voice low. They chose Brian and Emily, Jake. I'm out here alone. He leaned back, his eyes sharp. That's their loss, Kev. You're solid, always have been. Build your life, make 'em see what they threw away. His faith was a stone, grounding me, his advice. Don't lash out, be smart, a guide for my response. My neighbor, Clara, a retired teacher, offered coffee and stories, her kindness a reminder. I wasn't invisible, just unseen by those I'd loved most. My response was forming, a calm, thought-out plan rooted in truth, not rage, the tension simmering as I prepared. Brian's carpentry business, his pride, was my target, not to destroy, but to expose. I'd found complaints online, clients overcharged, jobs unfinished, a pattern he'd hidden behind charm. I'd compile a dossier, contracts, reviews, emails from a client Jake knew, and share it anonymously at the town's winter craft fair, where Brian's booth would draw a crowd. It wasn't sabotage, but accountability, a public mirror to his betrayal, a way to show Emily the man she'd chosen, to reclaim my dignity without sinking to their level. They'll see me then, my internal monologue vowed, my resolve a blade, my pain a fuel. The emotional swing was a pulse, the audience sensing my hope in small victories, running farther, journaling clearer, laughing with Clara, but disappointment in Emily's silence, her failure to fight for us, and my parents' absence, their "give Brian time" text a final jab. I confronted the pain in therapy, my voice raw. I want them to hurt like I did, but that's not me, I told Dr. Alice, her question, what's justice to you? A spark. Making them face themselves, I said, my plan sharpening, the fair a stage where truth would speak louder than my anger. I confided in Jake, the warehouse's hum a backdrop, the air thick with cardboard. I'm exposing Brian's shady work at the fair, I said, my voice steady, my hands gripping a clipboard. Not to ruin him, but to show Emily who he is. Jake nodded, his grin wide. Smarkev, hit where it counts, his ego. You're better than them. His support was a spark, my growth a quiet triumph. I was no longer the betrayed husband, but a man reclaiming his story. Clara over coffee saw it, her eyes warm. You're finding your feet, Kevin. That's strength. Her words were a balm, my resolve a vow. I'd rise, not for them, but for me. The tension simmered, the audience feeling my preparation in the steady scratch of my pen, the way I stacked evidence, the fair's flyer pinned to my fridge. Flashbacks stung, Emily's vows, Brian's hugs, Mom's pies, but I let them pass, my journal a release. I'm enough, not their shadow. I ran, the trails a mirror to my clarity, my therapy a map, my apartment a home. Hope flickered, maybe Emily would see, maybe my parents would wake, but my strength was mine, my plan a beacon. I stood by my window, the Murfreesboro lights soft, my dossier ready, my heart steady. I, Kevin, was forging a new self, my isolation a crucible, my response a truth that would echo, the sting of their betrayal a spark that would light my stand, the fair a stage where I'd reclaim my worth. The Murfreesboro December was a crisp breath, the winter craft fair aglow with string lights, the air sharp with cedar and mulled wine as I stood at the edge of the town square, my denim jacket zipped, my blue eyes steady with resolve. I, Kevin Walsh, was 35, a warehouse supervisor whose life had been shattered by my wife Emily's affair with my brother Brian, confirmed by texts and a photo, deepened by my parents' support for them. The betrayal had isolated me, but months of rebuilding, boundaries, therapy, a new routine, had forged a quiet strength, my plan to expose their truth at this fair a calm, dignified strike to dismantle their false narrative. My journey would end in emotional closure, a choice for self-respect over reconciliation, my reflection on the pain overcome a beacon of transformation, leaving a weight of satisfaction and sorrow. The fair was Brian's stage, his carpentry booth a draw for locals, his grin a mask I'd unmask. I'd moved to a small apartment, my life a canvas of runs, journals, and talks with Dr. Ellis, my therapist, who'd asked, "What does Kevin need?" To be seen, I'd said, my plan rooted in that truth. I'd compiled a dossier, client complaints, overcharged contracts, unfinished jobs, verified by a disgruntled customer Jake knew, my coworkers lead a spark. I'd printed flyers, anonymous but factual, detailing Brian's shady practices, and slipped them into fair programs, my logistics precision ensuring they'd reach the crowd without my fingerprints. I'd added a line about his personal ethics, hinting at the affair, enough to spark whispers, not enough to sink to his level. My goal wasn't ruin, but exposure, a mirror to their betrayal, my dignity a crown. The execution was electric, the audience sensing my control and my steady stride, the way I lingered by a cider stand, my eyes on Brian's booth. Flyers circulated, murmurs growing as locals read, their glances sharp. Brian's charm faltered, his hands fumbling a carving, his dark hair damp as a client confronted him, flyer in hand. "You overcharged me, Walsh. And what's this about ethics?" The crowd thickened, whispers of affair, and Emily rippling, the narrative he'd built, hero carpenter, redeemed by Emily, crumbling. Emily was there, her auburn hair loose, her face paling as she saw me, her hazel eyes wide with guilt. I approached, my voice low for her. "You chose him and hid it. Now they see who he is, who you both are." Her tears fell, her voice a whisper. "I'm sorry, Kev. I ended it. I want us back." Her plea was a spark of hope, but my resolve held, my pain too deep. Brian stormed over, his booth abandoned, his voice sharp. "You did this, Kev," he spat, flyers clutched, the crowd watching. "You're pathetic, airing dirty laundry." I stood tall, my voice calm, commanding. "I aired truth, Brian. You betrayed me, slept with my wife, and they chose you. Your work, your lies caught up." The words were a blade, my dignity a shield, his humiliation a poetic justice for his toast, Emily's silence. He recoiled, his eyes darting to Emily, the fair's judgment await. I turned, leaving them to the whispers, my plan a triumph of truth over deceit, the audience feeling my strength in my squared shoulders, my vulnerability in the tremor of my hand. The emotional fallout was a tide, the audience sensing my catharsis as I drove to my apartment, the Murfreesboro lights a blur. Emily's apology stirred hope, but her choice, Brian, for a year, had broken trust, my parents' support for them a deeper scar. I'd exposed their narrative, not with rage, but precision, my flyers a mirror to their betrayal, Brian's business faltering, Emily's reputation stained. My growth was in the balance, self-respect over reconciliation. Jake met me for coffee, his grin wide. "You did it, showed without losing yourself." I nodded, my voice steady. "I needed to stand Jake for me." His clap on my shoulder was a stone, grounding me, my transformation a quiet flame. My new chapter unfolded, the audience feeling my empowerment in my routine, running the trails, my breath strong, journaling, pages filled with "I'm enough," therapy, Dr. Ellis's nod as I said, "I'm free." I joined a vinyl club, laughter with strangers a balm, my apartment a home with Clara's gifted fern. Emily reached out, her emails contrite, promising change, but I declined, my boundary firm. "I wish you well, but I'm done." My parents called, their "we were wrong, too late," my "maybe one day," a door ajar, not open. I focused on work, mentoring a new hire, my warehouse shifts a rhythm, my worth a foundation. Closing reflection. I stood by the river, the Murfreesboro current silver under the moon, a single record sleeve in my hand, our wedding song, a ghost-eyed release. Emily's affair, Brian's betrayal, my family's choice had gutted me, their narrative a lie I'd believed too long. But I'd risen, my plan a mirror, not a torch, exposing truth to reclaim my dignity, my pain a forge for strength. The scars remained, maps of loss, but proof I could rebuild, my life a canvas I'd paint with pride. I'd faced their storm and found my own light, a lesson for anyone watching. When betrayal cuts, stand tall, wield truth, and let your worth shine. I, Kevin, was whole, my heart open to new songs, new trails, my path a vow of empowerment, the fractured vow a spark that lit a fire, its glow a beacon that would never fade.